Good morning, everyone. I am a PhD student at the Institute of Biomaterials and the University Erlangen-Nuremberg in Germany. And my supervisor is Professor Aldo Boccaccini. So today I would like to give you the overview of the in vitro studies that have been performed on silicate bioactive glasses containing boron and strontium. So I will start my talk with a motivation, then go to the processing of the material, and then show you some results related to the bioactivity and the antibacterial activity. So we cannot start talking about bioactive glasses without mentioning Larry Henge, who was the first or the inventor of the first bioactive glass composition, the 45S5, in the late 60s. So in that time, he was challenged by someone in the US Army to get a material which could, or that was not being rejected by the body, because at that time, the polymers and metals that were being used were rejected, and then amputations had to be done. So he got the funding and started working on this. So when he and his team got the composition that they thought might work, this was implanted in a rat femur. And then when the surgeon tried to remove this, he realized that it was not possible, that it was really bonded to the heart tissue. So then this was a very interesting discovery, and this kind of marked the area of glasses for medical applications, especially for bone regeneration. And in this context here, I just would like to show now how bioactive glasses are used in the clinic. So usually these are used as granules in combination with a paste, for example, cements. And then they are used to fill defects. So, for example, on the right side of the slide, you can see the defect with filled with the granules. And then after 2 years, you can see the regenerated tissue and almost no granules left. So this is quite a good result for this material. In this case, I'm talking about Bone Alive, which is a commercial glass that has a very similar composition to the 45S5. So how we characterize bioactive glasses, or why we call it bioactive. So there are two processes that these materials undergo when they are in contact with biological fluids. So the first process is the formation of a hydroxycarbonate apatite layer, which is very similar to the inorganic part of bones. And this is what makes this strong bond between the glass and the heart tissue. And so a series of reactions happens when this material is in contact with fluids. And for example, here we can see the silica-rich layer, which is one of these steps, and then the deposition of this apatite layer on top. And then the second process that we can characterize is the dissolution of the glass. So when the glass network is broken up, then metallic ions start being released, and these are the ones who triggered or stimulate a biological process at genetic level. So this, for example, the bone formation. So we can say that bioactive glasses are very versatile materials. We can design their composition by changing the metallic ions or the elements that we incorporate during the processing, and according to a functionality. So for example, if we want to get a glass that has antibacterial activity, then we can add elements like zinc or copper, for example. But if we are interested to improve the angiogenesis, then boron is a good candidate. And then we also can have elements with different functionalities. So this can really be an added value to the material to get different properties. So in this project, we selected boron and strontium as elements, and we wanted to use them, boron, for example, for these anti-inflammatory effects. It has been shown to be essential for growth and maintenance of bone, and it also improves the wound healing, which is quite important, not only for bone regeneration, but for any tissue in the body. And we also included strontium because it stimulates bone formation, and also it has shown some antibacterial effect. So the processing of the glasses was done via the melt quench method, in which the raw materials were mixed and then melted at 1400 degrees Celsius then fast cooled in water, and these were crushed. So that means we are using these in granules or powder form. So the compositions that we study in this case was the 45S5 as reference material, and then we had 3 compositions, one with boron, and then 2 more with boron and different amount of strontium. So the first results are related to the bioactivity assessment. So this was done in simulated body fluid, which is a solution that has a similar concentration, ionic concentration of blood plasma. So the powders were immersed in this solution up to 3 weeks. So here I would like to show you the results of the FTIR results of the bioactivity studies. And we were interested to see if the incorporation of boron and strontium had an effect of this bioactive behavior, especially on the formation of this hydroxycarbonate apatite layer. So I would like to focus on the region around 600 wave number that is here. So we can observe that for the reference glass, these 2 peaks were already visible after 1 day of incubation. However, for the boron-containing glass, this was visible after 1 week. And then for the strontium, this was quite visible after 3 days of incubation. So for both glasses, there was no difference between these two. So we can conclude that that there was a delay on the bioactive behavior by the incorporation of these ions, especially for the boron-containing glass. So now I would like to move to the antibacterial studies. So in here, 2 different studies were performed. So the first one was to find out what was the minimum inhibitory concentration. So for this, the glasses were immersed in medium, and then the supernatants were exposed to gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. So here I would like to show you the results. So we use Staphylococcus aureus as gram-positive bacteria and E. coli as gram-negative. So we can see that there was a concentration-dependent effect with higher antibacterial effect at higher glass concentration. And also we can see that for the glass containing higher amount of strontium, this effect was even higher. And this was visible for the 2 bacteria strains, but like more pronounced, let's say slightly more pronounced for the gram-positive bacteria compared to the E. coli that we can see here when we compare to the control bacteria. Then also direct studies were performed at 2 time points, 1 day and 2 days of incubation. And here we can see a stronger antibacterial effect, which was dependent on time. So after 2 days, we got a stronger antibacterial effect. And there was no a clear difference between all glass compositions. Only for the strontium, there was a higher effect after 2 days of incubation. And this was also visible when we plated the bacteria in agar plates, where we can see the difference between the control bacteria and then the bacteria with the glasses. Similarly, we have here the results of the E. coli. And we have also a strong antibacterial effect, but not as strong as with the Staphylococcus aureus. And here we could see an effect also on the glass concentration. So at higher glass concentration, we had a higher antibacterial effect. And similarly, we can see here the pictures with the bacteria. So when we have less bacteria, when we have the glass supernatant. And so then why this process happens? So why these glasses have antibacterial effects? So when we have metallic ions, different antibacterial mechanisms happen. And this is what makes it different to the antibiotics, for example. So here we can have different mechanisms happen. So it is harder for bacteria to be resistant, to become resistant towards this material. So we can have, for example, the formation of reactive oxygen species. We can have the disruption of the cell membrane, which could lead to the leakage of the content of the bacteria and then furthermore the cell death. Then we can also have changes at the protein level or at the genetic level. So all these processes can lead to the death of the bacteria death in this case. So with this, I would like to conclude that as observing for the bioactivity assays, we had a delay on the bioactive behavior, especially when we had only boron in the glass. We could also conclude that there was an antibacterial effect of the glasses, especially at the highest concentration of strontium. And then with the combination of properties as the osteogenic capability, which was not shown in this presentation, but was also tested, and the antibacterial effect, which can provide ion dot bioactive glasses as potential biomaterials for bone regeneration. So with this, I would like to thank the organizers for allowing me to participate in this context. Also, of course, to the German Science Foundation for the funding of the project, and all of you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Marcela. So now it's time for questions. So